Right, well, let's look at our cards. The first one we're going to make this evening is with the candy cane background stamp. And so we're going to create this fun and festive card. So that's going to be card number 1 for us. Card number 2 is right here. We're going to be using the stitched rectangles to help create this. Can't wait to show you how I made this one. And then our third one is going to be this one right here. So this is using a specific die that's in the annual catalog. Hi, Diane. Now I'm going to be showing you some dies tonight that are on sale. They're 20% off because they're part of the annual catalog. So I don't know if you remember or not, but we are having a seasonal sale right now. It does end tomorrow night at midnight. You can get 10% off cardstock, 15% off ink pads, and 20% off dies in the annual book. Okay? So keep that in mind. We do have a hostess code this evening. If your order is under $150, you want to use this hostess code. If your order totals $150, be your own hostess and you can select $15 in free product. So you do have that opportunity when you place a $150 order. And we have one more day to go, about 24 hours left for the sale. Since I teach classes, I stocked up on cardstock. So I am all set for the new year. Okay, oh, Diane's working on her order. Sounds good, Diane. Yes, take inventory, check your cardstock, check your ink pads. Okay, well, we're going to get started here, and we're going to start with this card, okay? So let me just get a little bit organized since I am limited on space. Hi, Peggy. Hi, Jody. Hello, Irma. Hi, Aunt Ethel. I saw you slide in here as well. I hope I've said hello to everyone. So this is the candy cane background stamp. And I want to show you where you can find it in the annual, not in the annual, in the mini. So it's in the mini catalog and it's right here. And they show us to use it with the Stamparatus. And boy, is this very helpful. So we'll be using the Stamparatus tonight. And if you remember, we actually did this background stamp probably a month or so ago. So anyway, Susan, I'm glad you caught me live too, and I'm glad you have this stamp, and now you'll be ready to use it. So we did this one probably about a month or so ago. I love that one too, but tonight we're gonna work on candy cane background stamp. And so this is what the stamp actually looks like. All right, we've got a little bit of a glare because of the lighting and the cameras. But I've already taken the time to, this is a rubber mount stamp. So I've already put the sticker on. I've already mounted it to the inside of my Stamparatus plate, okay? Now I made some notes here because I wasn't sure what size paper I needed for stamping. And I found that this size cardstock worked really well. So it's 4 7/8, and I'm gonna show you all that now. This is 4 7/8, and we're gonna stamp on basic white. And see that 7/8 right there? And then if you turn it this way, you want your paper to be about 5 3/4. If your paper's larger, that's okay. If it's not as big, that's okay too, all right? But I found this to work really well for me, okay? Yay, a lot of people have candy cane. That's awesome. All right, now I've also used one of our grid papers. Did you know that we sell this grid paper for the Stamparatus? It's located in the annual catalog. And I put that down so that I don't get ink on my plate. But if I do get ink on the plate, I can use water and wipe it up with a paper towel. Okay, so either way it will work. Okay, now we're going to start with some real red ink. All right, I'm gonna slide this down a little bit. So the first thing we're gonna do tonight is we're going to stamp this so that we can trim it to fit our cards. Okay, I have also put some lines right here and here. You can actually place this stamp anywhere on the plate, but you don't want to place the stamp too close to the hinge or too close to the top. So I kind of have it, you know, almost in the middle of the plate, not quite. This is our real red ink. So if you don't have real red ink, it's 15% off tonight. You can pick up a few ink pads. I am now inking this. This is a very large stamp. It's a background stamp. When they're this big, we call them background stamps. And you know, I need to put my paper in there, don't I? So I'm gonna add my paper here and here, all right? I'm not gonna use the magnet because the magnet's actually going to be in the way a little bit. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. And then I'm going to close and I'm gonna stamp. And I am on a folding table right now, and actually I'm gonna stand up just so I can put more pressure on this stamp. We're gonna open this up and see where it is. And as you can see, these candy canes could really be a little bit darker. So let me zoom in and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to re-ink again, especially in this area. All right, so I'm gonna re-ink the whole stamp, but I need to apply pressure right in this area. Okay, and we'll go ahead and close. And we're gonna open back up, and now I love it. It is perfect. Okay. So we're gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to take this up. And one little trick that I have found, many of you use the simple chamois. And when you purchase that in our annual catalog, you get a chamois. Of course, it's beautiful. It's not like this, but you can order a chamois and then I keep it in a stamp case, okay? I've also taken another chamois and I have cut this smaller. And the reason I've cut the chamois smaller is so that I can clean this stamp on the stamp apparatus. I found it much easier to work with than a large stamp, okay? So clean that up. I've got some ink on the plate, but a paper towel will take care of that later, all right? So anytime you're using a background stamp, the stamp apparatus is the perfect thing to use. You can store the magnets here on the back. Hi, Carolyn. And then this hinge even moves. So you can lift your hinge up and you can put the hinge over here if you want. You can even stamp from this side if you want. So this is very versatile, okay? Yeah, you're gonna love your chamois, Kisha. I really enjoy mine. Some people still prefer Stampin' Scrub, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that alternative either. Okay, we may need that again later, but we're gonna start with a basic white card base, and I'm really hoping I don't have too much ink on my hands. I'm gonna zoom out a bit. So hang tight here. Let's go ahead and zoom out. I'm gonna show you the card. It's right here. And notice this piece, this sheet right here is the candy cane. So we're going to take a few minutes and we're going to trim this piece, okay? So the first thing I think I'll do is let's trim the edges. And we're just going to get rid of the white space. Okay, so I got rid of that. And I'm going to get rid of this white space because we don't want that on our card. And then I'm going to turn here again and I'm getting rid of that white space. Okay, so now we're actually ready to cut, and this is where we need to measure. We're going to cut this at 2 5/8. Now I'm just talking about the candy canes, okay? So that's 2 5/8. Hi, Becky. So let's go on over to 2 5/8. There's 2 1/2, which I know is really hard for y'all to see. There we go. There's 2 1/2, and now I'm going to go over to 2 5/8. All right. I am going to save this piece for later. We're going to use the rest of it later, okay? Now, we also need to measure the length of this, and that is 3 7/8, okay? So 3 7/8 right there. Yay! I know, Becky, so many people have this set and they haven't used it, so this is perfect timing for us. Here is another extra piece. I'm going to hang on to it. Can use it for something else. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom out. I'm so glad you like the candy cane background, Joanne. Okay, so now we need a real red scalloped rectangle. And most of these items are basic cuts, so I've already taken the time to cut them. So here it is right here. That's what we're going to use, which happens to be, by the way, this is scalloped contours, okay? And it's on sale, 20% off in our annual catalog. This is the die that I used to cut this out in real red. Okay, so you can see which one it is. Hi, Arlene. Okay, so now we're ready to, let's make sure it fits before we tape it, but it's gonna fit perfectly. So let's go ahead, we're gonna get out our Stampin' Seal. And that is sticky. I'm going to stand up again. I'm going to stand over this, make sure that I get it centered. All right, just like that. Okay. All right, so we are about, yes, you should, Rosemary, absolutely. I'm going to add dimensionals. It's the first dimensionals of the evening, girls. Yep. I'm pulling out the dimensionals. You knew I would, right? All right. We're going to peel this off. I'm actually going to pop this up on my standard card base. Okay. Hi, Marty. I'm going to stand up again and stand right over this card base. And I'm going to center this. Okay. So there it is centered. And we have the first part of our card done. Is that crooked? That's very crooked. Let's straighten this up. I even stood up for that. So how did I get it so crooked? Ah, hang tight. Try this again. Whew. All right. Let's try that. Let's see if that doesn't work. Okay. Now the next die that we're going to use is this one right here. It's already cut out, and it's this die right here from Tasteful Labels. This is also 20% off this week, okay? Deadline tomorrow night, okay? I know you're surprised, Billy. Surprised I'm using dimensionals. All right, so this is what we're gonna stamp on. And we're going to be using the words, sending you peppermint kisses. And the reason I chose this was because candy canes they have peppermint. And so that's why I liked those words. Let me show you where you can find them. You can find them on page 8 in the gingerbread and peppermint suite. Okay, and you're going to notice that I'm going to be using the words from this suite tonight as well as some of the dies. Okay, oh, it would be so cute, Becky, with Holly Jolly Wishes. So here's the stamp set, and here are the words, okay? And that's what I've chosen to use. And there's some other peppermints too. Okay, so we're ready to stamp. We're going to use Real Red again. So almost a monochromatic card here. And I'm going to stamp right here. All right, there we are. And then, do you see this garden green banner? We're actually using Tasteful Labels again, and this is the banner that I used to cut out the garden green cardstock, okay? Now, these are all basic cuts, okay? There's nothing special about cutting these with their Stampin' Cut emboss machine. But if you are brand new and you don't know the sandwich on how to build the sandwich and run it through the machine, I am happy to show you, okay? So when you look at the banner and you put this on top, there's very little showing, okay? See how much is not showing? Almost all of it. So what I do is I take the banner and I cut it in half. All right, so now the banner is in 2 pieces, and then I'm going to run some adhesive right across the back. And I wonder if this grid paper will help. Let's see, does that work? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add that right there, and then I'm going to go over on this side. And we'll scoot it up because I am lining it up with that line. So hang tight here. There we go. All right. So there's my banner. Okay. It's an awesome sentiment. It really is. All right. So now we're going to add dimensionals. I could use ribbon. Absolutely. Yep. Ribbon would look really cute with it, Andrea. I hadn't thought of that. All right, so here we are, the one that we're finishing up, and I'm just gonna add it about right there, and it's almost a monochromatic card. All right, so that's our first card tonight. I do have one of my labels. We'll stick this on the back, and this is gonna go home with someone tonight. Okay, so someone's gonna win this card this evening. Okay, all right, let me move a few things around so I can show you the next card. I hope you like this first card. Ribbon would be super cute, Andrea. I really wish I'd thought of that. Okay. All right, here's our second card. So I'm gonna zoom in and I'm gonna let you get a really good look at that. Now what you may or may not notice is there is stitching along here, okay? There's green stitching, then it moves to red stitching, green, red, back to green. And I'm gonna show you how to get that, okay? I know, for those of you who aren't demonstrators, there is a brand new suite coming out with bees, amazing bees. So darn cute, those bees. Absolutely. Okay, you're gonna also notice that there are candy canes that are stamped in red, and then I have candy canes stamped in garden green, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to get that. First of all, let's talk about the stitched rectangles, and then we'll get to the candy canes. The stitched rectangles, let me see which die I used. Is this the one? This is the one. Okay. So when you're creating this card, you're going to want 3 garden green stitched rectangles. Let me zoom out. And with the stitched rectangles, ladies, it's this one right here that's missing. This is the die that I used. Okay, so I guess second from the smallest. All right, there's so many different ones. And I can actually measure the stitched piece. I'll do that and that will help you. Okay, these are stitched rectangles. These dies are in the annual book and I believe they're also 20% off. All right, stitched rectangles. So the length is about 2 7/8. So that'll give you an idea which die to pull out, okay? All right, so 3 garden green and 2 real red, okay? So you need that. Then, I'm sorry, I'm trying to grab the garden green candy canes. Here they are. Now, I've already taken the time to stamp the garden green ones. And of course, this is what we have left in the real red candy canes, okay? So we're gonna start cutting. And let me see if this is gonna be long enough. No, it will not be long enough. So we're going to use this piece right here. We need this longer piece. And we're going to trim the candy canes and they're going to fit inside these stitched rectangles, okay? All right, so the measurement for this strip is going to be 3/4 of an inch. And ladies, I'm over here, I'm over here using this 3/4 inch line. Okay. All right, so there we go. There's my first 3/4 inch piece. And I'm going to trim it to 2 3/4. Okay. So 2 3/4. And guess what? When I do that, I get another 2 3/4 piece. So I didn't have to trim again. I got really lucky, okay? So I actually need 3 of these. So 1 more. And we'll go over to here to that 3/4 inch mark again. This is what I have left. I'll probably end up tossing this piece. I'm not going to need it. And then I'm going to go back over to 2 3/4. And let me make sure they're the same size, and they are. Okay. Now, I'm also going to need some garden green candy canes. So let's trim this piece so we'll have it all ready to go. By the way, you can take your extra pieces and put them inside your stamp set. So you'll have them for the next time you stamp and make a card. Let's go ahead and rotate again, just getting rid of that excess white, okay? All right, I think we're ready to go here. Let's do this again. We need a 3/4 inch piece. There we are. And then 2 3/4 right there. Let's see if this is the same. Ha! It is the same. I'm so lucky tonight. Same size. So now I have this left and I have this left. And I can easily store this inside the stamp case. And the next time I use the background stamp, I have pieces already stamped, okay? All righty. So let's start with the green cardstock. Again, these are the rectangles and you can see the stitching there, okay? I'm gonna use Tombow glue for this. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room. Let's clean up that. And I know that I need red to go with that. So I'm just gonna do this. And then I am going to add the candy cane and it fits between the stitching, All right, I'll bring that up to the camera. And now you can see the stitching? It's going all the way around. And I know that's hard to see on the camera. All right, so that's one piece done. Hi, Cheryl, welcome. We're gonna do another piece. And again, it's going to be the Real Red candy canes. There we go. And I might be able to zoom in a little bit more for you. If I zoom in too close, then I forget where the camera is and then my hands aren't in the camera at all. All right, one more piece. This is the Real Red candy canes, by the way. I did check it. And now we're gonna add that. Okay, so that's the next. I know, I love the red and green. Reminds me of Christmas. All right, so now we have two of the Real Red stitched rectangles. And so now we're gonna use the garden green with that, okay? So I'm just gonna put the glue right there. And then I'm gonna add this candy cane. All right, that one seems just a tad bit longer than the others. Just a tad. All right, and then one more. And I'm gonna put the Tombow glue away for a little bit. Bring in my garden green candy cane and put that one in place. All right, so there's my candy canes right there, all right, in garden green and Real Red. Now we're actually going to mount this on a piece of basic white. And this is actually really, really helpful. By the way, there's a little spot of Real Red ink on here, but it's going to be covered up, so we're not going to worry about it. But you're going to want your basic white cardstock. Now this is a tough one. All right, we know where 4.5 is, right? You're gonna back up one line, which makes it 4 7/16. All right, so just a little less than 4.5, okay? And then we're looking at 2 7/8, which is right there. 2 7/8, okay? Now, what we're gonna do with this is we are going to put our Tombow glue on this piece of paper, but before I do that, I wanna go ahead and I wanna get my candy canes in line because I don't wanna mess up. So I'm gonna do green, red, green, red, green, okay? And now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna add glue to this. And this is gonna give us that wiggle room for attaching the rectangles. This piece of paper, you're not gonna see. It's just our framework, okay? So I'm going to add my first garden green. And I'm just gonna put it right over there to the edge of that basic white. And there it is, and that's all I do, okay? Now I'm going to take a Real Red one and I'm going to add that to it, okay? So that's the second one. Now you're starting to see that we're alternating the colors, right? And here's another one. This one's garden green as well. We're back to garden green. And now we're gonna alternate and we're gonna do Real Red. So this is the fun part when you get to add the different colors and alternate them. There's that one. And then here is garden green again, and it fits right there. Okay, so that is our framework right there. Okay, for the card. So I'll pull it up here close so you can get a better look at it. All right. And we are going to use some real red ribbon on this, some of this fun crinkly stuff, but I really want that to dry just a few more minutes. I know what we'll do. We'll go ahead and we'll stamp our greeting, okay? All right. So we're going to use that same stamp, but I do need to clean it. All right. Yeah, it is a fun card. It's got some crazy measurements, but it is fun. We're going to use a little garden green ink for the words. This die cut here, let me show you where you can find that one. It's from Hippo and Friends. It does have a coordinating stamp set. This is also 20% off. And I used the second one from the smallest to create that, okay? Second one from the smallest, all right? Yeah, it would make a really cute set. You could do a whole set of these, absolutely. All right, so I've inked up in garden green, and now we're gonna stamp right in the center. Okay. All right, I think this has dried now. Let's see if I can move this. And let's go ahead and we're gonna wrap some of this ribbon around here. This is also a part of the suite that's in the very beginning of the catalog called the Ginger and Peppermint Suite, okay? Now, if you did my ribbon share, if you participated in that, you have 2.5 yards of this fun ribbon, okay? So keep that in mind that you may already have this in your inventory. All right, so I'm gonna hold that and then I'm going to tie a knot. I'm gonna tug on the top and that gives me that square knot there. And we'll go ahead and trim that. I'm so glad you like this card, Carol. Thank you. Whoops. All right, I'm trying to slide my ribbon just a little bit more. Okay, got it. I can move my ribbon out of the way. And now I can go ahead and I can add Sending You Peppermint. And you know I'm gonna pop this up, right? All right. You know what? Let me show you something. I want my dimensionals top and bottom or north and south. And the reason for that is so that I can allow space for the ribbon. And the dimensionals aren't hanging on the ribbon, okay? Now I also pop this up on the card base. This is optional. You could definitely tape this using your Stampin' Seal to your card base. Okay, I'm grabbing my card base here, so hang tight. Here we are. And we're gonna peel this off. I'm so glad you like the card. Thank you, ladies. This is a fun design. You could do this with designer paper. Doesn't have to be with the background stamp. Okay, now we're gonna add some super cute peppermints, all right? And I have already cut out some peppermints that we're gonna use, but I wanna show you where they're located. They're in the mini, page 10. Here are the peppermints. You can stamp these in any color you want, and when you cut them out, the die will cut out all 3 peppermints at one time. So it's super, super cool. All right, so we're gonna add this peppermint right here. And I am gonna pop the peppermints, okay? Thank you, Sonia. I'm so glad y'all like the card. All right. So we're gonna add our peppermint there, and then I'm gonna take one of the little peppermints that I've already stamped earlier today. So this is an easy stamp set. It's just so easy for stamping with, basic cutting with the dies. I'm going to put that in the center. And then I want a little swirly on here as well. I don't know what else to call that. All right. And I'm using the minis, as you can see, because these peppermints are small. And there's the peppermint. I lost it for a minute. I'm going to put it right there. Okay. So you could actually add a little wink of Stella here. I know, it's hard to believe we're getting that close to Christmas, aren't we? You can actually add a little wink of Stella here. It's going to blend your ink, okay? So it kind of smears it a little bit if you want to do that. And then there's the big one. And I have some basic rhinestones. And I'm actually going to use these. We used to sell the basic rhinestones and they were connected, and now they're not. So what I'm using is I'm using some older rhinestones that are connected, and I have to kind of cut between them to get that off. Whoops. And I am going to add that right there. All right. I know that wink of Stella. So here we are. This is card number 2 that we'll be giving away this evening. But I hope you like that. It's got some very basic dies, but they're fun to use and they're easy to cut. So, oh my gosh, Carol, I did not think of that. Carol says the stamp set is cute. You could buy Peppermint Kisses candies, put in a cute box, or how about one of our mini jars, Carol, and put that Peppermint Kiss tag on. Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely do that. Yep. Hi, Jeanne. Welcome. I'm so glad y'all like it. All right. So we'll put that one aside. And, oh, I do have another sample to show you. And this one, let me zoom out a little bit. I created this one. Now, this one has a real red card base. And as you can see, I stamped the candy canes in real red. And this has created a background, okay? I'll show you in 1 second, Liz. So here, I've done the same thing with the stitched rectangles. And I added a little tag here. So Carol, you were talking about a tag for the box or jar. There's your tag right there. That Mary came from Painted Christmas, by the way. So here are the peppermints. This designer paper is from Gingerbread and Peppermint Sweet. And the peppermints are cut from the designer paper on this one. And here's that candy cane background. All right, so I'll be sure to get a picture of that one as well so that you can see it. So here we've got one that's, you know, in portrait mode. And then the one we created is in a landscape design. All right, but it's the same kind of idea, okay? All right. It's, yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, Becky. This is Old Olive, yes, because this paper coordinates with Old Olive. So yeah, I did Old Olive instead of Garden Green for that one, okay? So, gosh, now I wish I'd made that one with y'all. I'm glad you like it. By the way, I am talking about this Peppermint Sweet right here, Gingerbread and Peppermint. This is the designer paper that I used. By the way, you're going to see this suite next week, all right? Next Tuesday night when we have Facebook Live, remember I changed the date, we're going to be working with this suite. There's the ribbon, there's some of the dies, here's some more dies, and there's Old Olive in the paper. Okay, so I'll be sure to get a picture of that. The very first card, Liz, was this one. So if you wanted to see that, here it is, okay? That was the very first card we did tonight. I think you had asked to see that. Oh, I'm glad you liked the design. Thank you. Okay. Oh, and there's one more that I'll show you. This one is a monochromatic card. It's all red. I did stitched rectangles in all real red along with the real red candy canes. Here is alternating colors of garden green and real red. Okay, so there they both are. This was the first one I made today. And this is the second one. Okay, thanks, Liz. Tell Barry hello for me, Liz. Were the strips mounted on white cardstock and then old olive? Yes. Yes, they were. Yep, absolutely. So she was asking me, who asked me that question? It was a good one. Diane asked me, were these strips mounted on white cardstock and then on old olive? Yes. So Diane, I did the same idea. I glued it onto the white, okay, the white background. And then Diane, I actually made a larger piece of old olive to give it that border, okay? So yeah, great question. So now I wish I'd really made this card with you all. Maybe I'll make it with you next week. I don't have the materials cut to do it tonight, but if you would like that, I would be happy to make this one. So it's just hard to get them all in, you know, hard to get it all in. Okay, yeah, so there's the monochromatic, and that's when I changed it up to garden green and real red, okay? All right, so our last card, all right, let me show you what we're going to be using. We're going to use these dies, all right? So let's find them in the annual book. They are called Picture Like This, I believe. Hang on. I must find it. I bet it's going to be with one of the bundles. Let's see. And if anybody knows where it is, let us know. Okay, I know it's in here. All right. Yeah, it's nice to use those leftover scraps. Why am I not finding this die? I know it's a new one. Here it is. It's on page 164 in the annual, and it's called Picture This. So that's what I'm showing you now, okay? All right. So this is what they look like. And now I'm going to show you what they look like when they're cut out. Are you ready? Here's one of the cards. I actually used this piece right here and cut out the real red. I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? This is also a die set in the annual book. Now, are you wondering what the circles look like? Well, let's take a look. Here are the circles, okay? That's what that die would look like. You cut it out in real red, and then it ends up like this, okay? So we're gonna make the rectangle one together, okay? But here they both are if you wanna get a screenshot. You can do that real quick. I will show you this. Once you cut out this design on the real red cardstock, you get these beautiful stitched circles. Those are the negative pieces that come out of these holes. So these are beautiful circles, by the way. So you can use them on another project. Okay. We'll look at that card again. So we're gonna start with the real red card base and your real red cardstock. is 4 inches across. Hi, Miss Emily. I am getting ready for Christmas. Yes, I am. All right. So here you go. 4 inches and 5 1/4 inches across. Okay, so 5 1/4 inches. So that's what you're going to start with. Then you're going to use this die. Now look, you can do it this way or this way. It does not matter, okay? By the way, it's item number 155559, okay? So you would just run this through your machine, and you're going to get these 3 negative pieces. They're gonna fall out. All right, one is there, one is there, and one is there. They just fall out, and you can use these on another project, and they're stitched. Really cool stitching, really cool stitching. All righty. So that's how easy it is to do. The same thing happens with the circles, okay? All righty. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I think we're going to be inking. Yep, we are. We're going to be inking another piece of candy cane paper, and I'm going to show you how to do that, okay? So I need to grab some basic white. I'll let you look at these cards, and if you want a screenshot, grab it. I'm going to tell you all about those embellishments in a little bit, okay? All right. So I need some more cardstock, and this is the basic white. This is the first time I've used this die, and I love it with the candy canes. All right, here's a piece of paper. I need this white paper to be smaller than the red piece. And the red piece of paper, this piece right here, is 4 inches across. So I'm gonna do this one at 3 7/8, okay? And then I'm gonna rotate it, and this is 5 1/4 inches. So I'm gonna make this about 5 1/8. It's just a little bit smaller than 5 1/4, okay? Ooh, good question, Carol. No, but we can look, Carol, okay? Carol, remind me, and we will measure the circles. That is an excellent question. I have to find those circles. I know they're in a bag. Okay, so yeah, I brought the circles out. We will measure those. And right now we're gonna get our Stamparatus back out because we wanna stamp our candy cane paper. I'm gonna put this about right here. That'll work. Let me slide this over. I'll zoom out just in case you missed the demonstration at the beginning of the video. Hi, Deborah. We're going to ink this up in real red, okay? All right. And then we're going to swing this on over. I'm going to move that in a little bit. All right. And then we're just going to press. Hopefully I'll get a nice crisp image. Haha. Need to add some more ink over in this area. I'm not even using the magnet. Maybe I should have. We'll see how well it goes. All right. There we go. All right. Okay, so we're going to use this piece. I can clean this later. And you can see here that it really didn't get inked too well there, but it's not going to matter because what we're going to do is we're going to put this on top. And that's how we get this look, okay? So let me get some Stampin' Seal here. I'm just kind of putting it in some various places. And then there we go. We have the base of the card right there. Isn't that cool? You do the very same thing with the circles, okay? Now, before we move on, remember these were the circles, okay, if you're just joining us. Carol had asked me the dimensions of the circles. So that's a great question. And I've got the circles that came out of it. So Carol, it looks like these two circles are the very same size, okay? So it looks like we're gonna have two this size. The diameter is going to be about 7/8 of an inch. All right, so we get two of those. Oh, we get three of those. Now we've got two this size, okay? And the diameter for these is 1.5 inches. Thank you, Becky. 1.5 inches for the diameter on that circle. So two at that size. And then the largest circle is about, it's a little over 1 5/8. Okay. So that's a great question. Sometimes you need a circle that size. So, and this is something you can actually put with the stamp set or the die set. Just put them in a little bag and save them for when you need them next. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a garden green card base. Hi, Marcia. Welcome. This card base is measuring 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And on the 8.5 inch side, you want to score at 4.25 inches. All right. And if anyone has questions about that, just let me know. I am happy to show you how to cut your paper. I am just adding this to the card base. And no, I did not pop it up. I know you're shocked. And we're just going to center this right here on the card base. Okay. All right. So that's what we have so far. We're glad you're here, Marcia, even if it's late. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a greeting. And look at this really cool shape. So this die cut shape is from the Pretty Pillow Box dies. Okay, so let me see if we have a better image. We may not. I don't think we do. Nope. Okay. So the Pretty Pillow Box dies, okay? This is the pillow box, and these are different dies that can be used to embellish the pillow box. And this die right here is the one that I am using, okay? So just want you to know where it's from. We're still in that gingerbread and peppermint suite. I'm gonna stamp this in garden green. And stamp that right in the center, just like that. And then we're actually going to pop this up, okay? All right, because it's been 5 minutes and we haven't popped up anything, so I think we should, right? It is time. And then we can add this anywhere we want. I'll just add it here like I did on the other one, okay? And then we're going to add some peppermints. Now let me show you what the peppermints look like. The peppermints are together in a grouping, okay? So there's 3 of them, And we're going to need green and we're going to need red. So I'm going to ink this in Garden Green. There it is. And then I want to show you, I hope I have the die with me. I think I do. Yep. The other nice thing about this stamp set, you've got the trio of peppermints, and then there's a separate peppermint. Okay, and that one actually looks a little bit smaller. So then the actual die for cutting is right here. And all you do is line up those peppermints, run it through the machine, and then you'll have 3 separate peppermints, okay? It is hard, Becky. It is, yes. It can be very difficult to know what to order for sure. I agree. Okay, so we've got some peppermints here, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to add them to our cards. So I stamped 1 set in Garden Green and I stamped 1 set in Real Red. Okay? All right. And I'm going to add that one here. I did pop it up. Then I'm going to take a little dimensional and put it right next to that peppermint, and I'm going to change colors. They're really hard to pick up. I'm going to layer it there. Then I'm going to take another dimensional, and I'll zoom in for this. Okay, I can peel off that peppermint. Whoops, I missed that one. And that can go right there. Okay, so that's 1 set of peppermints. It's just kind of fun alternating the colors. So now we're going to go down here at the bottom. And you don't have to. Don't have to do that. There's a peppermint. Then I'm going to use 1 more dimensional. So what does everybody think about the candy canes? What do you think? I know some of you already have this and you've been dying to try it. So now, hopefully this will give you a little bit of inspiration. I also want to share with you some darling little embellishments that are part of the gingerbread and peppermint suite. And there's some little teeny dots in there, and we're actually going to embellish these peppermints. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit of glue on the center of that peppermint. I'm going to do the same over here with that peppermint. And then I'm going to take your pick tool. Ooh, yes, Anita, you could emboss the peppermints. I would use some clear embossing powder. Yeah, that would be beautiful. That would be lovely. All right, I'm trying to get this off. There we go. So did you see I added a little red embellishment there? I'm going to go down here and I'm going to get a white one and put it right there. So I'll hold that up to the camera. I know that's difficult to see, but that's where I added the little embellishment. And then I added a red one up here. And I just used Tombow to help it dry. Now you could use your Wink of Stella here too, okay? I'm gonna move these embellishments so that I don't, I need 1 more. We're gonna do 1 more embellishment. I'm gonna put one up here at the top of these words. That's gonna be our last embellishment. I'm using my putty, take your pick tool, and I am going to just add this about right there. Try and straighten that up. It'll just take a few minutes to dry. Okay, but it has all kinds of little shapes in here. Really cool stuff. Look here, even some peppermints. That one right there, that little white peppermint. They're super cute.